Austin Dillon just had his worst career year in the NASCAR Cup Series. So I'm going to tell you why I believe he has a chance to make the playoffs this year. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Ryan Peters, and welcome to Stuck in the Catch Fence. Welcome back, everyone. Hopefully, you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. I hope you are ready for the 2024 season. And before we get into that, the Busch Light Clash will be here before you know it, February 4th. So we're going to do a little mini series here where I give you a few minutes on why I believe some of these drivers who did not make the playoffs will make the playoffs this year. And before you go and comment below how terrible some of these drivers are, yes, they did not make the playoffs. So I'm going to present the case to you, and you can either accept it, understand it, and listen to it, go, I can understand that rationale, or just call me an idiot, whatever it is. It makes you feel good inside, but the whole point is to start a conversation and get ready for the 2024 season as it is on our doorstep. So the first person I want to talk about for making the playoffs is a driver coming off his worst career year. He is the driver of the number 3 car. Some people call him Silver Spoon. He has had plenty of different nicknames, plenty of different things thrown his way. Some he can control, some that he can't. It's not his fault. His dad is Richard Childress. It might be his fault at the way he drives his car, and some would question if he's good enough to be in a NASCAR Cup Series car. But we're going to make the case on why Austin Dillon will make the playoffs in the 2024 season for our initial driver. So last year, let's go ahead and look into last year, and I'll bring it up right here for you guys to see. This was Austin Dillon last year. As you can tell, not a great season when it comes to everything that he was able to do. He finished in 29th, only 545 points. He did have a 100-point penalty. And on top of it, he led NASCAR with 10 DNFs. And that's really going to be the thing that for Austin Dillon that has to change. If Austin Dillon is going to make the playoffs this year, he has to be more consistent. And we thought that possibly was coming at the beginning of the year. I don't know if you remember going back, but Martin Truex won the Busch Light Clash, and Austin Dillon finished second place with his teammate Kyle Busch in third. Then had a top 10 run in the duels. And after that, at the Daytona 500, he and Kyle Busch were making a charge to try to win the race between the two of them before Daniel Suarez ended up wrecking. So, not a lot of top 10s, not a lot of top 5s, barely any laps led. And you kind of go back and see what changed for Austin Dillon. Well, the biggest change is he had a new crew chief in Keith Rotten. I would say, obviously, that did not work out so great in year one, but they are coming back together in year two with a full season under their belt. Another thing that's kind of off the cuff or outside of the track, you don't have to worry about, the USA Today series or the show that he was on, which some would say that's pretty silly to use that as a reason why he wasn't performing well, but it is maybe something that was going against his better judgment. I know it aired a couple seasons ago, a couple years ago, but still fully focused. I think now the opportunity is there for Austin Dillon to be fully focused, and those things should change. Now, what is in Austin's favor moving into this year? So, the biggest thing moving into this is, well, one of the biggest changes last year as well is he's got Kyle Busch on his side. Kyle Busch is a good teammate. Not that he hasn't had good teammates before, when the likes of Tyler Reddick and a few other NASCAR veterans, but now he has one of the greatest drivers in NASCAR history to bounce ideas across. I know I read a recent interview how he really, really enjoys talking NASCAR and talking, just the overall racing aspect of life that those two enjoy, and having Kyle Busch as a teammate. He recruited Kyle Busch as a teammate. So to have another full year to bounce ideas off of Kyle Busch is going to do nothing but help him. Then you want to look at his past. What has Austin Dillon done in the past? Well, he's made the playoffs, at one point 3 years in a row. Then he made 2020 and 2022 with wins. So where do those wins come from if we're looking at Austin Dillon? Well, I'm sure a lot of you would say, he's a proven you know, super track, super raceway, driver. So those are going to be in his favor. The very first two tracks of the year are super speedways. That's the word I'm looking for. Super speedways in terms of Daytona and then going to Atlanta. So those are possible. But if you dive in and look at his top tens, you got Homestead, you got Richmond, you got Charlotte, you got Bristol Dirt. So while we view Austin Dillon in a specific lens, he actually can drive at a multitude of different tracks. I mean, those are all very, very different tracks. But I think when you look at Austin Dillon, there's a stat that baseball likes to use, and that's like batting average of balls in play, BABIP. And for you stat freaks and things of that nature, maybe you don't want to hear anything about this. But essentially, it means how lucky you are when you hit the ball in play. So a batter who puts the ball in play a lot, but has a low batting average of getting on base with putting the ball in play, but is hitting it hard, is determined as unlucky. Now, when you lead NASCAR in DNFs, I think it's fair to say a lot of times that it is unlucky. Now, throwing a tantrum like he did at Pocono and, attempting to throw a helmet, if you want to call it that, is not going to lead any grace among fans. But what Austin Dillon has this year is it's like the luck. I just don't think it's going to repeat itself twice. Now, you may say, I don't think Austin Dillon is a great driver. I hear you. But at the same time, he's an Xfinity champion. He's a truck champion. He's won a multitude of races in his career, and he's played the playoff multiple times. We lump Austin Dillon into this. He's a terrible driver, and he's lucky that Richard Childress is his family. I think that would be more true with Ty Dillon somehow always finding a way. Ty Dillon is the Thanasis and Antetokounmpo to Giannis, not the other way around. Not that Austin Dillon is Giannis, but I'm just saying the relationship there grants Ty Dillon to have the opportunity to race in the upper series versus the other side of Austin Dillon. Now, do you want my true opinion of what I believe is going to happen for the 2024 season? I think that RCR has to come together and find out where they had speed in the beginning of the season and why that dissipated through the rest of the year. That's going to be the key, is because the thing that I don't like to see is that Austin Dillon and Kyle Busch were horrific at qualifying compared to what they've been in the past. It was just 2 to 3 years ago, Austin Dillon was qualifying 15th. That's not bad, but to lose that and go back to 20th, especially with the short track package that RCR has now, it being one of the worst in all of NASCAR, they really got to do a better job when it comes to qualifying and maintaining speed all the way throughout. But RCR has had a facelift. It's had a new image brought to themselves. They have Kyle Busch. Richard Childress seems more focused now to winning a championship now than ever. And I think Austin Dillon may be the number one thing that could be helping him get back to victory lane is he can't continue to be behind his teammate by such a wide margin. When Kyle Busch is winning 3 races, when Tyler Reddick is winning 2 to 3 races, Austin Dillon should not be lagging that much behind in a 2-car operation. In a 4-car operation, I think some people would understand that, but in a 2-car operation, Austin Dillon's got to be a lot closer. He's got to be a lot more consistent. Does he have the skills to win? Absolutely. In this car, a lot of people have the skills to win. They have the opportunity to win because it's now closer now than ever. And 2024 may make that even better. But Chevy will be behind the eight ball because Ford and Toyota have a new car. So, what has Chevy done to provide more consistency from RCR and other trackhouse teams like that, to where Austin Dillon can make it back into the playoffs? Do I truly think he will? I think it's close. I think it's close. I think he is more of a driver that has a chance to win, like a Daniel Suarez, than I do think he's a driver that completely has fallen off a cliff and is no good anymore. I don't believe that to be true. I believe Austin Dillon is just as likely to win, more likely to win than a Ricky Stenhouse, who did make the playoffs by winning the Daytona 500, something that Austin Dillon has done himself. But I want to hear what you have to say. Do you think that Austin Dillon will make it back into the playoffs? Or do you think he's done? He's no good. He's a talentless hack. And the only reason why he has a NASCAR ride is because he has a family member inside NASCAR. I would love to hear that from you in the comments below. If you want to talk more NASCAR, here's the way to reach us out on all possible venues. We have, let me get this here out of your way so you can see it. We are on Facebook, Patreon, and Rumble. That's how you can catch us. Again, when the regular season starts, we will be all over it and talking the preview for the Daytona 500. We'll be talking the Clash, my live stream actually, and talk about the Clash on February 4th, that Sunday night. We'll see how it goes. But again, I'm going to do this more for different drivers. Let me know what your favorite driver that didn't make the playoffs has a chance to go back in, and we'll talk about them as well. But like always, my name is Ryan Peters. This has been Stuck in the Catch Fence. Until next time.